Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Burying the Sausage, a wedding podcast for the overwhelmed newlywed with me, Amy Taylor. I hope you're well. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes with all of the amazing vendors that I've had on so far. But this week, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I have a married couple on the podcast for you this week, and they got married at Greta Green. So I wanted to have them on for several reasons, but one of the reasons is that I was really curious about what happens at Gretna Green. We've all heard of Gretna Green, but do you know anyone that got married there? I don't. Well, I do now, because I know Hope. I wanted to have Hope and Charlie on to let you know, I wanted to have them on. Let's start again. I'm not even going to edit this out. I'm just going to keep this real, okay? I wanted to have them on so that they could tell you about their experiences at Gretna Green. They had a really small wedding. I think they said there were only 14 of them all together. And their story is just fantastic. And I think it really sums up really what a wedding day is like, whether there are 14 of you or whether there are 240 of you. I think there are so many shared common experiences, and there's loads of really funny parts of their story and really lots of really touching parts as well. And I can't wait for you to listen to this, whether you are having a really small wedding or whether you are having a massive wedding. I think that what they have to say is relevant to everybody. And make sure you stick around until the end, because they give some brilliant advice, which actually did genuinely almost bring a tear to my eye. Anyway, let us crack on with this week's episode. Oh, before we do, please like or rate or review this podcast wherever you listen to it, because it really does help me out. Anyway, we are going to start the episode now. Thanks so much. Hi, Hope and Charlie. How you doing?
Hi, we're good, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm so excited to speak to you both because you are the first married couple that I've had on the podcast. And your story is one that I really want people to hear for loads of reasons. But first of all, just introduce yourselves, and Hope, if you could just let people know how we know each other as well.
Yeah, so I've known Amy a long time. Amy actually did my prom hair, and that's my original connection to Flynn. Because Amy's obviously worked at Flint a long time, and now I work at Flint. I'm a hairdresser, and yeah, so I've known Amy like 10 plus years now.
Yeah, I know this. That's why
together as well.
Yeah, we did, and that's why this is so special, and why I'm really looking forward to hearing both of your stories as well, because, you know, I've known you for such a long time, since you were a teenager, so it's all very exciting.
Now you're all grown up, married.
Yeah. I don't know whether you ever grow up. I'm nearly 41, and I think it's pretty obvious I'm not grown up. Okay, Charlie, just give us a little bit of an introduction.
Oh, yes. Hello, I'm Charlie. I am Hope's partner. We're married now. We met at uni, and Hope grew up in Norwich, so we decided to move back to Norwich together.
Yeah. Oh, you went to uni in Falmouth, didn't you? You went to art school. Yes. You're fellow art schoolers like me. Yeah. So, yeah, I would love to have gone to Falmouth. That did look so amazing. But Norwich is amazing too. You know, Norwich is amazing
too. I love Norwich. Norwich is now it feels like such a home to me, which is lovely.
I mean, my husband, he's from Northern Ireland, and I kind of, what's the word? Enticed him over here. I don't know whether that's the correct phrase.
I feel like I enticed Charlie into Norwich too.
Yeah. It's an enticing place.
It is, it's true.
It really is. I want to talk about your story from beginning to end. And I know from what Hope has told me, there are some funny moments that you might want to share, and some really cool moments as well. So you both got married at Gretna Green. And I know that Gretna Green is quite famous, so I'm sure a lot of people might want to hear about that. So let's just start right at the very beginning. When did you get engaged?
So we got engaged like a year and a half, I guess coming up to 2 years ago.
2 years ago now.
On Charlie's birthday, which is 27th of December. So what year will it have been? 2022?
2022.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time ago now.
Yeah, so you got engaged and then married, I suppose, in a fairly short amount of time, didn't you?
I feel like the kind of time that we were engaged is probably a more normal amount of time, but then the time we were planning it was literally like under 2 months. So it was like a whole lot of not planning, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, because I remember asking you, occasionally when I came into work, oh, how's the planning going? And you're like, yeah, we haven't really done anything yet. And then all of a sudden, in the WhatsApp group, you were married. And I was like,
that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, we had that from so many people.
Yeah.
Like, people would be messaging me, or when I would see them, would be like, so what's happening? What's going on? And I'd be like, you would know if anything had happened. Literally nothing has happened yet. And then all of a sudden, select people got a message saying, hey, getting married in 2 months, do you want to come?
Oh, that's amazing. And what date did you get married on?
So the 15th of September, but it was because our anniversary, so our 5 years anniversary was the 13th of September. So I'd already booked that weekend off because it was our anniversary weekend. And I kind of had it in my head when I proposed that I'd like, because it was a Friday the 13th as well, which I because we got together on a Friday the 13th. And I liked that it was, an unlucky, but lucky no, because it's a bit quirky,
Well,
the actual wedding was on the Sunday. So yeah, the 15th is the day. But it's nice because now we can forever have like a full anniversary weekend.
Yeah.
So I've got also lots of questions to ask about how you did that so quickly in terms of the organisation as well. So let's start there. What was the decision to do Gretna Green? Had you thought of other things prior to that, or was it always Gretna Green?
We planned, we'd looked at a few different options. We were looking at different places in Norwich, and then we'd thought about like getting an Airbnb or something, like either on the Norfolk coast or the Suffolk coast. We'd looked at a few different things. We were trying to basically do it as affordable as possible.
Yeah, our original plan was that we would go to the registry office, which in Norwich is the castle, because we were like, oh, that's kind of quirky and still would be fun. I've never been to the castle, so I was like, oh, I bet it's cute, that must be nice. So we were like, we'll do that, and then we'll just kind of have a big party afterwards that would be the main like ceremony. Because we didn't really want anything traditional, so yeah, we were thinking possibly Airbnb, like a big one where everyone could come along and have a party, or there was this really cute place just outside of Norwich that was like a kind of glamping site. So those were the two that we've kind of been thinking of, but for some reason it just never got past the idea stage.
Yeah.
And we kept joking. There were multiple, whenever we try and sit down and like think about actually planning it, we'd always get to a point where we'd be like, as a joke, should we just go to Gretna Green? Like, I don't want to deal with planning a wedding. Let's just go to Gretna Green.
Yeah, because I think it's so overwhelming to like sit down, just two of you, and it's such an enormous event, and it's so hyped up, kind of, by everyone to be, this is like the best day of your life. It needs to be perfect and amazing, and there's so many things to think about.
Yeah.
And for two people that are not easily overwhelmed, I think alongside, working full time and just trying to like feed ourselves and like enjoy our 20s, it was just very overwhelming. So we just couldn't get past that.
It is really, really overwhelming, and that's why this is the podcast for the overwhelmed nearly wed, is because you just don't know where to start. I remember when the year that Paul and I decided that we would finally get married after being engaged for like 1,000 years. And I just thought, well, where do I even begin? Who do we need to let know? Like, who are the legal people that we need to advise? How do we book a day? But did you find the process of doing it really quickly exhilarating or stressful, or a combination?
Probably a combination.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so we got to a point where we just kept joking, oh, shall we just go to Gretna Green? And I was like, shall I just Google what that actually entails? Like, I didn't know how expensive that was, like how possible that was, how much notice, because I know it's famous for that you don't have to give any notice, but there is still a notice period. But it's just shorter than here. So I think it's 3 months in England, and it's 1 month in Scotland.
I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So you made the decision. You Googled Gretna Green. You found out it was 1 month's notice. What was the next thing you did?
So looking on the website, they had like packages. And so the package includes the venue, the 2-night stay for like you and your partner, like champagne, breakfast at the hotel.
Nice.
And
ours also includes.
So and then you could add on a photographer for like not that much more. And we were like, I think
like £100 more or something.
I think it was the basic package. I think the basic package was like $795 for like venue, stay. Yeah,
was, like we were like,
oh,
that's amazing.
It was like $895, or like it was $895 and then $995 with the photographer. So it was under £1,000 basically.
Because there was also because it was
not peak time.
So there was an extra.
I think it would have been over £1,000 if it was peak, but it was just under because of.
Oh, but that's still in kind of, you know, terms of weddings, that is still so affordable. You've booked your date, you've let your people know. What happened after that? What was the next thing? Was it kind of food you were looking at, or like outfits, or what was the next thing that you looked at?
God, I feel like we did everything in such a jumble because there's so many steps that you have to go through, even to like it wasn't a straightforward thing just booking our day.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, right.
So we contacted them first to see if they'd be available on that day, if they had availability, and they did. So then it was about because then we had to send off all of the legal stuff, because you have to send all of the legal documents to Gretna. So I think you have to pay. So that's also an additional cost. Is like the registrar fee is separate.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Yeah. So honestly, it was such like a jumble of like.
We had to like pay a deposit.
Yeah. So I was calling
you had to do
every
a lot
few
of
days.
Yeah.
So obviously Hope was working full time. I was working freelance, so I was at home. So it was me kind of like, okay, I'll call, and I was like kind of checking if the day was still available, and then checking like our closest people that we were like, you definitely have to be there. Is everyone else available? Can we get travel on those days?
Oh, yeah.
We have to check so many things before we could even book it. So we kind of reserved it, and then even then it was still, so it wasn't even it didn't feel that solid until we were close to the date.
I mean, because it's so far away as well. It's going to be like, what if the trains were shut down that day, you know, or the day before, or whenever it is that you travelled. Oh, yeah, so many. Okay, that sounded like a really tense time.
It sounds like a lot, but it actually, the people at Gretna were so lovely. Every single phone call, they were just so gorgeous, and I would have a list of questions because we'd keep thinking about different things, and like,
we'd need to know
how many people can even be in the room, like during the ceremony.
A good thing to know, because we were originally just thinking we'd go us and 2 witnesses, but it wasn't any additional cost to have extra guests other than like them paying for rooms to sleep in. So then we were like, oh well, maybe we should have a few more people.
Yeah. So then it didn't snowball, but it was like, oh, we need to invite these people and these people and kind of.
But yeah, in the end there was 14 of us, and I think it was perfect.
Oh, so who were those people? Were they parents and friends, or were they other family members?
So I had my parents and then my closest friends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had my parents, my brother and his partner, and my cousin. And then
wonderful.
I had, my cousin friend. So yeah, I had a bit more family.
Yeah.
Than Hope. But, yeah, it was.
They must have been so hyped though. When you first told them, you're like, "Oh yeah, we're getting married in 4 weeks." Like, oh, so how many weeks away was it when you told them, when everything was like a done deal?
I guess like a month and a half.
Yeah.
I think we told people before it was like completely secured because we needed to know to secure it. Kind of thing. So it was like, because they needed to know before we booked it how many people. So it was it was like,
but it really wasn't
very
long until I stressed my dad out so much. Bless him, because he's got lots going on at the moment. He's jetting off here and there and everywhere. So I told him, and he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be around. And I was like, well, you have to be at that day or...
Yeah, it's going to have to be. So when you get up there, do you know what? I know this is really terrible, but I've never been to Scotland. I really need to go because I love hilly scenery type places, because it's on the borders, isn't it? It's just over the border. That's why it's famous, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you go up there, what is the place like? Is it in a kind of like an idyllic country town? Is it kind of very urban? Like, what does it look like?
It's like a chapel off a motorway, basically.
Yeah, like you get off the motorway and you are there.
Like it's literally, it's just a motorway, and then there's obviously like the halls and hotels that are the wedding venues, and then a few kind of suburban looking houses.
Yeah, there's one pub.
There's one pub, which is where we ate. There's a Pizza Express. I think.
We really thought about going to Pizza Express.
We did actually get pizza the night before.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
There's nothing wrong with the Pizza Express. I don't like the Pizza Express snobbery. The dough balls, fantastic. Pizzas, I love it. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, it's basically
their only thing is that it's Greta Green. It's where people historically would elope and get married. So they've got some cute little touristy hubs.
I didn't go to the tourist shop, but you did that.
Yeah, there are a couple tourist shops. There's a love maze.
Yeah, I didn't do
that.
Oh
my goodness, that sounds a bit creepy, doesn't it?
It was
You did it with your parents. Did you do it with your parents?
Yeah, there was a whole group of us and Hope wasn't there.
No, I can't even remember. We kind of didn't even hang out the morning of the wedding.
No, I don't know what you were doing.
I think I was just vibing.
Yeah, but my parents wanted to do they loved doing the touristy stuff. Yeah.
So the parents did the love maze.
Yeah. It was such like a miserable.
It was the whole morning was really drizzly. Yeah, but then the weather came out for
it did.
But yeah, it is like the scenery is really gorgeous. Yeah,
the grounds of the kind of hotel and
were really nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So I've seen some pictures of your wedding photos, and you both look absolutely incredible. Let us briefly touch on your outfits. Okay, so how did you decide what to wear? Because I mean, you're both very stylish, and that must have been quite difficult, or wasn't it? How did you go about it?
I knew I didn't want to wear white. That was like one of my main things.
Okay.
I found a dress in a charity shop, actually in Sue Ryder Vintage in Norwich.
Did
you? Which I used to work in, so it's like a nice little connection for me as well. So I found a dress there that I just fell in love with. It's the kind of dress that if I describe doesn't sound as nice as when you see it, because it's like sheer and grey with like red and pink flowers. But I found it, tried it on, it didn't fit me, but it was like 20 quid or something, so I was like, I'm buying it anyway. And then this was like months before we booked anything. This was literally just like, I found the dress, I was like, I need this dress, and then I was like, in my head I was like, could be wedding dress, but like, even if it wasn't wedding, I was like, it could be for something. It's like vintage 1950s, so it's like the classic 50s
Oh,
thing.
wow.
But yeah, so then when we booked the wedding, I was like, well, let me see if I can get the dress tailored. And yeah, I found someone who tailored it for 30 quid, which is so good.
Oh,
So very,
my
very budget
goodness.
dress.
It looks so incredible, Hope. And
And
you had a 1950s dress for your prom, didn't you?
I did.
Yes.
I love a 50s silhouette. And I have these platform strawberry boots that are like my pride and joy. They're any night out, any like event, anything there, I will always wear them. So I wore
What do you
those.
mean strawberry? Do they have strawberries on them?
They do, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so originally, like, way back when we got engaged, I was like, I'm going to wear a white dress. I'm going to be subversive because no one would expect that. As we got closer, I was like, I don't really want to wear a dress.
No.
I'm just doing it to shock people. So, because our only theme that we really told people to really go with, because it was a very chill, like, wedding, just
you
like,
could
come along
wear
vibe.
whatever you wanted.
But we were like, it's got to be pink and
or
green, because pink and green is like our thing. Everything we own and decorate with in our room is pink and green.
I love that colour combination.
Colour is like a foresty green, and mine's like a pastel-y pink. So,
Oh,
and it's such a
beautiful.
good colour combo together.
It is really nice. So I knew that I wanted my suit to be pink and green, and genuinely, like, it's not even an interesting story because I didn't even like search for it like high and low. I literally just typed in pink and green suit on Google, and the first thing that came up, I was like, that one.
Wow. So where's it from?
Yeah, it turned out to be a really nice, like, UK eco, like,
It's
company.
called Joni, who I've never bought from before, but one of my
I know
friends...
Joni. I've got loads of Joni things. I love Joni. That's
really
amazing.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew I didn't want it to be... Because I wanted to kind of... it to look quite androgynous. I didn't want it to be super fair or really mask. So it was, like, perfect. 'Cause it's kind of like this loose-fitting, oversized kind of vibe, and it's kind of floral and very kind of loud pattern, but it was the perfect pink and green, and it was only for the set, I think it was £90. Or was it?
Amazing.
It might have been a little bit more than that, but it wasn't very expensive. Yeah, maybe they...
Yeah, and I was like, for sure I'll wear this again. So
yeah, definitely. And you could wear each piece
separately.
Oh, of course you can. You know, I'm just such a massive fan of when people find an amazing outfit and it hasn't cost them £2,500. And that is absolutely not saying that you shouldn't be spending £2,500. But I think that it's definitely worth bearing in mind to anybody listening who is feeling under pressure to spend the money. Is that you don't have to. And I've actually had so many clients that have spent under £100 on their dress or their jumpsuit or whatever it is that they're wearing. And I think some of them have got them from like ASOS. And honestly, I swear to you, you would never know. They looked great. They looked fantastic.
Yeah, there's a really good like charity wedding shop in Norwich as well. I can't remember.
There is.
I think it's a big C one, maybe.
It's a big C one.
Yeah, it's opposite John Lewis, and my mum got a dress from there for her 25th wedding anniversary. So I feel like there's just, and I've had like clients who've been getting married who've told me they've got their dress from there, and I think there's a tailor, like a lady who works there, who will tailor them for you. I just feel like it's so worth it, especially if it's something that you're only going to wear once or not very often.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense to get something secondhand. Yeah.
Because you can still find like the most beautiful, amazing like outfits that you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have arrived at Gretna Green. You are in your hotel the night before. What happens next? You go out to dinner.
Well, so my lovely, lovely friend Lorna, who I didn't assign like roles to anyone, like I didn't say maid of honour to anyone or anything, because I just wanted it to be it was like a very low pressure scenario, but Lorna would be the perfect maid of honour and kind of assumed the maid of honour role herself. And she threw us, bless her, like a little I guess like sort of like a hen or do, but like a pre-wedding party basically the evening before in their hotel room, and she'd put like photos up from like everyone growing up together. And like got like custom donuts with our names on and custom confetti with but in pink and green, and like drinks and face masks, and it was just like slumber party vibes, and it was just perfect and so nice. And she got
so nice.
Which is my favourite.
And it was we just all chatted and hung out, and it was so nice.
There was balloons as well.
Yeah,
there was like sweets.
A little sweet station. Yeah, she'd done it all.
It was like if you just typed in like cute hen party on like Pinterest, it was just incredible. I never expected it, and it was just so lovely.
It was so nice.
Oh, that's
like
so nice.
Really
So that was a complete surprise for both of you.
Yeah. I knew she was doing something because I was just from the point of view of organising. I'd said like, oh. She told me she wanted to do something, and I was like, oh, what do I need to organise for that evening? And she said, don't organise everything, I've got it all covered. But that's all I knew. It was so nice.
Do you two stay together, or were you going to kind of split and then meet again the next day? What did you do?
No, we stayed together.
Yes.
But I wanted to get ready separately.
Yeah.
Even though we knew what each other was wearing.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of the like reveal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got ready in our room with two of my friends, and then you got ready.
Yeah, so I was kicked out of our room. So I was just kind of flitting between everyone's, because I was like, I'm not really going to do much makeup. I just have to put the suit on.
They don't take very long.
Yeah, I was mainly just taking photos of people because I brought my camera along. So I was getting ready pictures with everyone.
Oh, that's so cool.
But, that's when the keys did get locked in the room before.
Oh, hope you told me about this.
Luckily, I was getting ready in my own room, so I didn't even know this was happening.
No, because we were all running between rooms, getting all overexcited. We had our key cards, but obviously they all looked the same.
Yeah.
So I kept my key card on me, but then I'd put it down on the bed, unfortunately next to the key card that was for the room I was in.
Oh.
And then we ran into someone else's room. Someone picked up my key card, left the rings in the room, and closed the door.
But how near to the ceremony was this?
15 minutes.
What?
I was supposed to be down at reception, meeting the registrar and my dad in 15 minutes, and the rings were in the room.
Luckily, I didn't have to stress about this because I was in my own room getting ready. But
you didn't know. You were completely oblivious.
Oblivious.
I would have played the the getting married card. I would have been like, everybody in this reception queue, get out of my way, because I've got to get in the room. The rings.
Yeah, so luckily I was free. I was like, guys, I can't believe this has happened. We have 15 minutes. What are we going to do? And luckily, Christy ran downstairs. She was one of our witnesses. Ran downstairs to the reception. Was like, I don't even know what she said, but she was back up in less than like 3 minutes with a new card, and we got the
very easily resolved.
Yeah, because
they
were
so
so lovely.
Yeah,
Gretna, like.
I bet this sort of thing has happened before.
Oh yeah, easy. Like, I think Max lose his card like the first night.
Multiple people lost their cards.
So many brain cells in this wedding party.
I mean, no, it sounds really fun. So what time of day did you get married? What was your ceremony time?
Midday, so 1:30. Yeah, which was nice. Yeah.
Oh, 1:30. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we had plenty of time. I mean, I think I started getting ready at like 12.
Wow, that is so chill. That is like
I
the
know, it's
polar
the most
opposite of
chill.
my job generally.
When I hear you say to like clients and stuff, so like if it's starting at 12, you'll have to be up at 4 or whatever, and we were just like, it was like an hour before, and we were chilling.
No, I mean, it just depends on like what you want to do, doesn't it? I mean, that sounds like it suited you perfectly. And it sounds actually hilarious and like you had a really amazing time. So
Yeah, so we did. So yeah, we got ready separately, and then Charlie went ahead because their dad was walking down the aisle. I didn't want to be walked down the aisle, so I stayed with all the other guests. But that's when there was another funny thing that happened.
Yeah.
tell me more.
Really? Okay, so this is where we get into the more kind of
the gender roles.
Yeah, gender roles, queer aspect of getting married.
Sure. I think this is really important to talk about, especially if like other couples who are getting married are looking to navigate this themselves, you know. So talk a bit about this.
Yeah, because there was definitely a lot throughout where we noticed like they have their script.
It's very heteronormative.
Yeah,
because it's I mean it's weddings. Like weddings are fundamentally heteronormative.
Yeah, it's a very like historic place as well. So it's traditional. It's very built on that kind of tradition.
Yeah.
So I rock up in my suit with my dad, who, bearing in mind, is wearing the gayest suit he could possibly be wearing. And I say that in a positive way. He looks incredible.
Is this his normal style, or had he pulled out all the stops for today?
Both my parents did this on purpose.
They
both looked so gay. They were loving it. My mum was wearing this like little suit with this bright pink, like flamingo pink scarf, and like almost a cowboy fedora, which was also luminous pink.
What?
Sensational.
Incredible.
Is this the new era for their dressing? Is this the new era for their fashion sense, do you think?
They were really taking advantage of the fact that this was a gay wedding, and they were like, right, I know what to do. But my dad found, I think it was on Amazon, he bought his suit. It looked incredible, but it was shiny and all these swirls. Yeah, it was paisley, like so shiny.
The shiniest.
And he was wearing a hat too. They love a hat, both of them. But basically, he was looking extremely camp. And I was also in a suit. So we go down, we meet the registrar for the first time. She's she must have been in her 60s, I think.
Older lady.
And the photographer, and we were like, oh, hello, we are here to kind of get on with it. She kind of looks at me, and she's looking a bit confused. She looks me dead in the eyes, and she's like, so you're Hope. And I was like, oh, no, River, because that's my legal name, so that was what was happening on the day. So I was like,
sure.
No, I'm River. And she looks even more confused, and she turns to my dad, and Deadass is like, so you're Hope?
Oh my goodness, you didn't tell me this. Oh, and what did your dad do or say?
I didn't even know what he did. He was just like, oh, and I was like, that's Dave. That's my dad. And the relief in her eyes, bless her heart. She thought this little baby-faced person was marrying this man in his 60s called Hope.
My. So have you kind of joked with your dad and called your dad Hope now?
I haven't, but we did joke about that for the rest of the day. We were like, oh, yes, we're married now. So yeah, I think definitely there was a little bit of confusion as to what kind of gay we were.
Yeah.
We were just absolutely baffled, because we also, in all our forms, we hadn't specified titles. Like they kind of were like, do you want to be brides? Do you want to be grooms? And you could pick any, and we were like, we don't want anything. We're not anything. So I think for that reason, they were a bit like, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah. Do you know what? So they need to get a gender neutral option in there
really
somewhere, right? So when
I feel like that's a question I've had, is people being like, oh, so are you brides? Or, and I'm just kind of like, no,
well,
we're just
that's why I'm using the words nearlyweds. It's because it could be just anyone who is, you know, about to get married, and so maybe they just need nearlyweds or something on there. I don't know. That would probably be quite good. So okay, so once we'd established that your dad's you're not going to be marrying your dad. Once that was cleared up, there what talk us through the next bit.
So we took some nice photos with the photographer. He was very lovely.
Obviously, I was unaware this was happening, so I missed out on both of those funny moments. So from my perspective, I just met all the guests. We took some photos, and then I was taken to the venue. They took some photos outside the venue, and then we were all taken in, and I stood at the front, and then all the guests were shown to one side, and the other guests were shown to the other side. So like Charlie's guests versus my guests. And then my dad was in charge of music, so we set that up.
Yeah. And meanwhile, me and my dad were kind of hurried into this room. This little office room where I think they do the admin. They were like, stay there. And then they left, the registrar was gone, so me and my dad were just waiting in this room, just like, I wonder what's going to happen.
With your loud outfits and, you know, just shining and being bright.
And then, they came back after we saw everyone kind of go in. I was kind of looking out the window, but then I saw Hope come in and I was like, I don't want to look. I don't want to see you. So then, we kind of went through and then entered the room.
Yeah. I sobbed the entire time.
Yeah.
From start to finish. From before they even entered the room, the song started and I was like in bits immediately.
What was the song?
It's like an Irish
it's
jig.
called Elstrom's March, and it's like it's like a cover of like what would have been a traditional like Irish folk song. It's really beautiful. Nice, we actually first heard it in Fleabag.
Yeah.
Oh.
Really it's like violin fiddle.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of fiddle. It's very pared back. It's just really, really nice. So.
So Charlie enters the room to just me stood at the front sobbing.
And then that obviously sets me off, so I'm like, oh! And then I look around at, you know, friends and family and everyone. So it's just everyone's a mess.
Had you expected it to be that emotional, or was it a surprise to you both?
I thought I probably would be. In my head I was like, I knew I'd be really emotional. I was like, that's either going to come out in two ways. I'm either going to be sobbing, or I'm going to be like so emotional that I'm really quiet and like overwhelmed looking. But I'm quite glad it was the sobbing, even though all of the photos are just me sobbing. But that's okay. Charlie was like the perfect amount of glamorous, like,
yeah, I cried a lot less than I thought I would. I think because it was kind of, there were so many funny moments during the ceremony. So obviously the vows were like really emotional and really beautiful, and I did cry, but then a lot of it was just like, what is this? What's happening?
Yeah. Oh no.
But like in the best way.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like getting married is just a really weird experience. Like it's very strange, and then they start saying all this like scary legal stuff, and you're like,
they do. It takes the romance out of it.
Sure, yes.
Yeah, it's like don't feel romantic, feel frightened. You know, it's just, that's what it's like, isn't it? And I remember because when they do take you away separately, and they ask you for your full name, and you're like, I don't know what's my full name. I can't remember. Like, because you're terrified, aren't you? It's really scary.
Yeah, with all the forms, I was so worried I'd like write something wrong.
Yeah.
They actually wrote something wrong.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
They had to change it very slightly. They
was it your mum's name?
Yeah, they spelled my mum's name wrong, and I was like, you've missed this. And she was like, I never
Oh.
missed this. I was like, have I spotted it?
Oh.
But I guess the one thing to say about the ceremony was like language. So we did ask for gender neutral language to be used.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
No, and I double checked with her just before we went in because we were talking about stuff, and I was like, just to double check, we don't want any gendered language during the ceremony. We are not wife and wife. That's not what's happening. And she was like, cool, yeah, that's all good. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Oh no, I think it's gonna. I'm obviously not making excuses for them, but I think it's just one of those things, especially in a place like so traditional like that. It's gonna take time. I mean, you did tell them maybe afterwards they finished the ceremony and then they were like, oh my goodness, I've just realised what I said, and maybe hopefully it was just a genuine mistake. But
like we weren't upset, we weren't annoyed. No. Like I think
it was more just like, again, it was just like a mildly entertaining part of the day.
Yeah.
Like, she said wife, and then Charlie just mouthed at me like, it's okay, just.
I was like, just for wife sake, because I could see the fear in Hope's eyes. So I think with Hope, it's like
I don't really mind.
Neither of us want wife really, but Hope minds less than I do. So I was like, I'll just say what, because you have to repeat, obviously. So it's not just them calling it, we have to say it as a legal thing.
Yeah, and you don't want to start having an argument with them.
I know. So I was like,
in front of your guests.
I'd be like, excuse me, I object.
Yeah.
So we just kind of had to go with it, and Hope, I could see that Hope did not want to say it for me, and I was like, just say it. Just say it. So I think that.
And what did they say at the end?
Eye roll as I said it.
What did they? Because they usually, like, the traditional thing, obviously, is to say, "I now pronounce you man and wife." What did they say at the end for you guys? Or did they not?
No, they said wife and wife again. Yeah.
Wife.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's what we
I
are,
think
I guess.
I now pronounce you newlyweds.
Yeah,
or just I now pronounce you married.
Yeah.
Like,
or married. Yeah.
There was also, we wanted, there was a line in it that we wanted to be removed because they said make any personalisations. We were like, yeah, let's just remove this, but unfortunately they didn't remove it. But again, it's really not that deep.
No, like I think that's the thing for it. Like I say, it didn't upset us. It didn't annoy us. Like I think that's the one thing I would say. Like I don't regret any part of the experience at all. But it is definitely. It's not a personal. It's quite an impersonal experience because like. There was another one happening straight before us. There's another one happening straight after. They don't know you. They don't know you personally.
No.
They have a script that they're saying. Like, so I didn't take anything personally, but I think if people, obviously, I can understand if people want a very catered personal experience. It's probably not the thing for them.
Because like another queer couple, that might have really ruined their day.
Yeah, exactly.
Really upset them.
Which would be so valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for us because we weren't really expecting much at all.
Yeah,
so it was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah. This has been amazing speaking to you. We are going to have to wrap it up soon, unfortunately. I've still got so much more to ask you. But I'll ask each of you what your top tip or your top piece of advice would be for, well, to be honest, any part of your wedding. It could be arranging it so quickly. It could be, advice you might give to other queer couples that want to do the same thing. Just your top piece of advice. So, Charlie, if you go first, what would be yours?
I would say don't feel pressure to do anything traditional, and almost not feel pressure about it has to go a certain way, like, okay, I'm getting married, so that means we have to do this and this and this and this. Because at the end of the day, it is for you too, as a couple. You can literally do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It can be so...
It's so adaptable.
Yeah.
And I guess just like prioritising each other.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think we had so many conversations where we were like, oh, but I want this, but you want this. How are we going to do this kind of together? But there will be like this beautiful middle ground where you both get what you want. And I think you don't need to sacrifice things. You can make it work for what you want.
Yeah. I think, but that's kind of that's a partnership, isn't it? That's a long-term partnership like that. And that, Paul and I have been together for 20 years this month. And let me tell you, that's been the whole 20 years, so, so yeah, no, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And Hope, what would be your top bit of advice?
Ooh, I think, I can imagine that for a lot of people, there's probably this really big build up of being so involved in the planning and then it happening, and I imagine there's probably a crash afterwards. So I think maybe what I really enjoyed about it is because it just kind of, we planned it and then it happened, and then we've planned a little mini moon for a mini stay in that's this month, and then we'll plan a holiday next year probably. I think it's nice to I guess think of it as part of your journey as a couple rather than this climactic one thing. I think just as it being another really important day in celebrating each other, but there's going to be so many important days in celebrating each other. I think the whole time for me, I don't really care too much about the wedding. For me, it was about the marriage. So I think, that would be my advice. Is prioritise the marriage, not the wedding.
Oh, Hope! Oh my God, it's almost brought a tear to my eye. Honestly, that is
beautiful.
That is so. And it's true. So I was saying the other day, honestly, what you've just said is what I was saying to somebody the other day, is that we got married, Paul and I got married 15 years ago. And if you asked us in the past 15 years what the best day we've had together was, the wedding day might come in the top 5. Do you know what I mean? There have been other amazing times that we have had together as a couple. And so you're completely right. Don't put so much pressure on yourselves to make that, that's the best day. Oh, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah,
that's not the case.
Yeah, definitely.
There'll be so many more amazing days,
and there'll be so many
more
amazing parts of the day, but then there'll be so many less amazing parts of the day, but that's okay because it's just a day. And I think it's important. Some of the parts I love the most were the things that went wrong. Yeah.
Oh, that has been so amazing. Honestly, I loved hearing your story. And I really, really hope that other people have not only been inspired if they want a smaller wedding, but they have listened to both of your advice. And if they are feeling flustered and overwhelmed and stressed, that kind of takes the edge off for them. I'm actually going to be doing an episode, hopefully in a few episodes' time, on wedding day stress, where I'm going to have a counsellor come on and we're going to chat about that.
Oh, nice.
So anyway, thank you both so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on, and I'll chat to you again soon.
Yay.
See you later, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bearing the Sausage. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I absolutely loved the advice from Charlie and Hope at the end. I hope you did too. I hope you can take that advice away with you if you are getting married, and that helps you. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. As I usually say, please rate, like, and leave reviews wherever you have heard this podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. And thanks for listening. See you another episode.